Hey everybody, it has taken me all morning to sit in this chair and work up the guts to do this, and I wanted to reach out to you today. I came home from Summit just feeling very kind of overwhelmed by everything I experienced there, but also just fired up and feeling more secure in who I am, what I'm about, and what all of this is. Hold on. I just wanted to come to you today, and I've had a great deal of fear around sharing what I've been going through. I had a great deal of fear going to Summit because I was afraid it was going to punch holes in my beliefs, and it didn't. It did everything that I needed to do to raise me up and lift me and let me know that this is the right thing for me. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about before and after and tell you a little bit about my story. I know that I told you I was going to publish it in a blog post, and I've already written it and everything's there, but I'm having someone professionally work on my website, and it won't be launched till the end of the month. And honestly, I just have this fire inside me, and I want to share it with you guys because it's important to me. And honestly, I feel like I'm healing every time I put my story out there. And it's taken so much for me to get to this point, and I really feel like I want to share, and I'm going to tell you what inspired me to here in a few minutes. But the biggest thing that has held me back from sharing is that I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be pitied. I don't want people to feel this overwhelming sense of sympathy. I don't want people to look at me differently. I was in therapy for a really long time because I was like, I want to tell people about what I'm dealing with chronic illness, but I don't want it to define me. And so for a really long time, I've hidden it, except for a couple of my closest friends and my family. No one really ever knows what's going on with me. So, and honestly, that was easier for a really long time until it wasn't easy anymore and it got really hard. I want you guys to know going into this that I am so grateful and blessed to know that I have lupus. I am so thankful that I have been able to be well managed and that I was diagnosed early, and that I have a great team of people caring for me, and I was lucky enough to have Finn, which I was told I would never be able to have children. So there are so many blessings that are wrapped up in this. So I don't by any means want any of you to think, oh, you know, Tanasia's a woe is me at all. But that is who I was before and just never told anybody about it. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is a little bit of my story and kind of where I am now and why I had no presence on social media, and now you cannot get me out of your newsfeed. So I love you guys. Thank you for those of you that tolerate it, and for you guys that still read it in spite of some days being like, oh God, and rolling your eyes. Sometimes when I post, I roll my eyes too. So let me just let you know that, you know, I'm working on building up my business page and moving everything to that. I'm hoping by the end of the year I will be exclusively on my business page. So there are things in the works, and I have a website coming very soon I'm super pumped about. So things are in the works. So getting to the point of my story, I have Finn's friends here to support me. They make me feel a little bit better about being here. And I'm hoping that you guys leave. When I watch TV and I think that something's going to happen that's going to make me nervous or they're going to embarrass themselves, I get all tense and like nervous too. And I'm hoping that that's not the feeling that this video leaves you with. So, but I wanted to talk to you real and candidly about the things that I've been experiencing. And I'm hoping that the reason I'm here today is because I was inspired by a speaker at Summit. And I'm hoping that instead of you guys looking at this and looking at me, that you look at this and you hear the words and you look at other people around you and you have a different viewpoint, because I know that I do now. So I began... Finn turns 2 on August 9th, right around the corner. And so part of my journey began with his birth, but the rest of it began a long time ago. So in August 2008, I was diagnosed with lupus, systemic lupus erythematosus, which means that I have chronic inflammation in my body and in my joints. I deal with chronic fatigue and chronic pain. I've been hospitalized a couple times for lung and heart inflammation, and I have to limit the amount of sun exposure that I have. I have to take a medication every day, which one of the side effects is that you can go spontaneously blind. That's kind of a bummer. I have to have retinal scans every year. I have to go to see the doctor at the beginning every 3 weeks, and then it went to 3 months, and then 6, and then I'm finally out to a year. So Since starting all of this, I've cut my medications in half, and I no longer feel depressed, except everybody feels depressed every now and again, but I have my good and bad days, but I'm no longer on massive amounts of medication for that. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I got here. So being diagnosed with lupus, I spent years and years and years not dealing with it. I didn't want to admit that there was something wrong. I didn't want to let anyone in. And honestly, I wasn't really dealing with it well myself. Somebody's blowing leaves in the outside. I hope you can still hear me, but I didn't really, I was in denial for a really long time, and I didn't feel like I could really express my emotion around having it because I didn't really know how I felt. And honestly, I pushed it away for so long that it was just easier for me to deny that it even existed. So then comes years later, I'm married, I have this beautiful life, and I had to stop working. I just couldn't function as a nurse anymore. I was on my feet 12 hours a day. I was spending more time recovering from work than I was working. I got acutely ill. And I tried to cut my hours back, and I kept cutting back from 12 to 10 to 8 to covering lunches. And then finally I was just like, this sucks. And Chris was like, this sucks. And contrary to popular belief, we were not in a financial place for me to quit work. That was not, we were planning our wedding. We had so much school debt. We were drowning. And so it was the most unbelievably terrible time for me to quit work. But Chris loves me and embraces the fact that I'm dealing with this. And so he made it work, and he worked his ass off, and he worked overtime over and over and over to get us to where we were. So having to quit my job and doing all these other things, I felt ashamed and guilty. I felt like a burden. I felt like an anchor around his, a weight around his ankle. I was embarrassed, and I didn't know how to survive it. So I just didn't talk about it, and I hid it. And when people would say, oh, you're so lucky to be able to stay at home, I would just nod and like grin, and then I would go and cry in the car, or I would go home and feel sad for days, and I just felt worthless, like I had completely lost my purpose. So fast forward, I get pregnant, and I'm gonna have Finn, and everything is amazing. And he is born, and it's awesome. But every new mom knows that you go through a period of time where you just are like, what the hell am I doing? And I was so unsure of where I was and what I was doing with him. I sustained a bladder injury when Finn was born that left me 100% incontinent of urine. This is a part of my story I don't often tell, but I have gotten brave, and I want everyone that's out there struggling to know. It's not like, ooh, mommy sneezed and used the bathroom. I had to wear adult diapers for 8 months after he was born. I was going to physical therapy 2 to 3 times a week for an hour and a half each time, and I had to take Finn with me because we didn't have childcare. I couldn't breastfeed because of the stress of everything. My lactation consultant said that, we were doing everything right, but the stress of what was going on with my body was just too much, and I ended up having to take a medication that Finn couldn't have anyway. So we had to go to formula really early, and I am a proud formula mama because that's the only reason that he's as healthy as he is. There are so many different things that I felt at the beginning, and I was just so sad and burdened by everything, and I just felt so worthless. And I looked at my life from the outside, and my aunt asked me one time, like, if you could rate your happiness on a scale of 0 to 10, what would it be? And when I look at my life from the outside, it was a 10. Like, all my friendships, all my family relationships, all of the things that were happening inside my life were absolutely elevated to that level. But if she would have asked me the question of how I felt about myself, the answer would have been drastically different. I just went to Coach Summit, and the reason that I got brave enough to tell my story today is that I listened to someone speaking. Her name is Maysoon Zayed, and her story is absolutely incredible. I'm going to be posting her video tonight. It's just amazing what she has been through. She has cerebral palsy, and she was talking on the fact that we shy away from and are nervous about people that are disabled. When she lived in a very protective environment and had so much support around her illness as a child, So when she came out and wanted to be an actor and started to talk to people, and she was, you know, seeking to be a comedian, she realized that there is a huge stigma against people with disabilities. There are absolutely so many people out there that are suffering with these diseases and disabilities, and they're doing it in silence because of fear. And when she was talking about this, I sat there, I have cold chills all over my body right now, because I just was like, oh my God, yeah, you're talking to me. And I have been so blessed to be as healthy as I am, but there are so many other people out there with lupus, and it is an invisible disability. Nobody can see. I look like a normal person, but I suffer every now and again, and you can't tell. So she was talking about visible disabilities and the stigma behind that, and how she was judged, and the terrible things that people were saying about her after she went on her first broadcast. And then she gave a shout out to the invisible disabilities, and she literally said lupus into the crowd. And I just was like, oh my God, it's time. Like, it's time to tell people how big of a deal this is. And I've been so scared. And she said, you know, she lived in fear after the moment that she released her broadcast and had all this feedback. She's like, I feel like I should quit. I feel like I should give up. And then she's like, but I realized that I couldn't give up. I had to go on. I had to share my story, because in my story, there is a truth, and there is an empowerment, and there is an absolute movement for a better understanding of this. She has absolutely, I feel like, started a revolution. She is absolutely incredible, and I don't even know how to say anything other than absolutely incredible. She made me feel so comfortable and so empowered that that's why I'm sitting here today. And maybe I'm embarrassing myself, but I don't care. I have absolutely been given strength and been given the heart and grown a pair to sit here in front of you today, because it has been hard. It has been hard to admit that I've been hiding this from all my friends and family for so long. It has been hard to explain how this has changed so quickly for me. It's been hard to post publicly on Facebook about the transitions and about my transformation, and to talk about my journey so publicly. But the thing that is not hard is that when I look at my before picture, the thing that's hard for me putting that out there is that all anybody sees is a girl that needed to lose weight. And that is not what I see. When I look at my before picture, I don't see anybody that had anything to lose. I see somebody that needed to gain. I needed to gain back my self-confidence. I needed to gain back my self-worth. I needed to feel like I was deserving of the love that I was getting from my friends and family. I felt that I needed to release the guilt and the burden and embrace who I was, and stop feeling like I had something to hide. When I look at that before picture now, I look at the emotion on my face, which was absolute disappointment in who I was and where I was at that point in my life. And when I look at myself today, I see a very different person. And it's not because of the size of clothes I wear, and it's not because I am sweating it out and posting a sweaty selfie on Facebook. It is not because I get people commenting on my pictures on Facebook. It is because I have changed my life. When I think about the words that I used at the beginning of this, when it's ashamed, guilty, burdened, embarrassed, and anchor, the words I use to describe myself today are strong and proud. They're brave and real. It's satisfied, and I feel like a badass. I feel like I took control, and I feel like I am the ruler of my own destiny. I know I trust in God, and I know that He has gotten me to this point, but I also feel like I have control over my decisions and where I'm heading in this. And honestly, as hard as it's been to tell my story and to put it out there and to be here today, I am healing through telling my story, and I am helping through telling my story. And that is why I'm on Facebook, and that is why I'm sharing today, because my soon helped me realize that being embarrassed and hiding your truth does nothing but hurt you. So I'm here today to tell you that I am proud of where I am today. If you are struggling and you're out there and you feel like you're alone, you're not. All of my friends and family have been so supportive through this, and they've done nothing but lift me since I started being real about it and being honest. Share your truth. Don't be afraid. And honestly, if you need help, reach out for it. And make the decision to help yourself today, because I wasted so much time and we don't have that much time to waste. So I am winning this fight and I chose to do so. So I hope that you'll do the same, and thank you for listening. I know this was super long, but I'm really proud of each and every one of you that tuned in, and I'm proud of everyone that is going through life and has something that they feel like they can't talk about. You are stronger than you know, and one of these days, when people find out, you're going to be shocked that they're going to love and support you no matter what. This is nothing to do with something being wrong with you. You are stronger for what you've been through. So don't hide your light. Don't ever hide your light. Thank you for listening, and I'm giving you guys a big hug. Thanks.